G'day legends, Mick Duck here. Thanks for joining me today on Adventure Chat. So today what I'm going to talk about is specifically food for an overnight hike. Actually in this chat I'm actually going to talk about the food I took on a 3-day, 2-night hike through Mount Kosciuszko National Park. So let's get into it. So in this chat, what I'll do, I'll actually take you through each of the meals that we're having along the way and show you which things get multi-use across multiple days. So for lunch, we had wraps. On these wraps, we had Kewpie mayonnaise, some of the squeeze of the tube of avocado, slices of salami, slices of cheese. Then we also sliced up some of the cherry tomatoes, the baby cucumbers, along with some baby spinach. Delicious wrap on the trail. So quickly just talking about the lunches. So what we normally do, we normally take the block of cheese and the salami. So people might be a little bit worried and skeptical about that. What we normally take is just kind of a little muslin cloth or just kind of a little linen bag or a little cloth bag. What you can do, you can actually wet these down, wrap up your cheese and your salami in those, and it stays quite fresh. If it's getting hot, that can be a little bit trickier. What we normally do is just take that if the weather's not going to be like really hot, as it can be here in Australia. But when you were going Kosciuszko National Park, the top temperatures were only going to be like 15 degrees. I think on one day it actually did get a bit higher than that, but because we had these kind of little things to wrap up the cheese and salami, dampened down from the rivers were actually freezing, so that actually made it quite good to kind of keep it in. Definitely don't keep it at the top of your pack in the sun. If you can find a spot where it's either one, not going to be too close to your body to get that body heat, and not too close to the hot where it's getting the direct sunlight. So a couple other things in the lunches, we have the Kewpie mayonnaise. That's fine. Like, I've never had a problem with carrying that even in hotter weather. The tube of avocado, that one can, depending on the number of days you're going for, if you're going for 3 days, it's going to be totally fine. Again, same as your cheese and salami, keep it wrapped up in the bag or the cloth and away from the heat. So for the tomatoes and the cucumbers, we carried in this little old Staminade container. The cucumbers fit perfectly, and that's kind of standing up with the tomatoes as well. So that's actually a great little thing to kind of protect them so they don't get beat up and squishy in your food bag. The other thing that we do take is the baby spinach rather than any other kind of lettuce. We've tried a few things, but we find the baby spinach lasts longer on the trail. Again, if you keep it all wrapped up in a little wet muslin bag or as a cloth, we do find that it keeps it much fresher longer. The snack that we had was a little mini cheese stick along with a Babybel cheese, and that was actually totally delicious. We love our savoury kind of stuff, so that's a really enjoyable one. Energy bar, Cliff Bar, this chocolate choc chip Cliff Bar, and then I also had some beef jerky. We also carried these chocolates just for a little sweet snack after dinner, as well as these fruit strips just for something different on the trail. So hot tip for a snack are the baby cucumbers that you pack for lunch. Those are a great little trail snack. Highly recommend that. So for dinner on day one, we actually made Mexican tortillas. So we used a couple of things. We used a spicy Mexican rice, and we used the mild chili con carne. Both of these, you can actually cook it in the bag. The chili con carne is a retort style, so it's not freeze dried. So it's quite heavy to carry, but we decided to do that for day one. Carry that in. So those both get boiled up in the bag, just in hot water. And then we had the tortillas. Again, we had Kewpie mayonnaise, some avocado squeeze, along with the chili con carne, the Mexican rice, some cheese, and some hot sauce. So that was absolutely delicious and a feast. Actually, we also put on some baby spinach as well, and a couple little slices of cherry tomato. And I also had a nice little nightcap. It was a whiskey, a nice little Scottish whiskey, the classic laddie. So the other dinners, one of us had a creamy carbonara. We sliced up some salami and added that in. Had a little taste because I wanted to just see what that was like with the salami added into it, and that was absolutely delicious, so I can highly recommend doing something like that. I just had the radix, the Mexican chili. I just love that one. The Mexican beef, it's actually just really delicious and flavoursome, and you can't really go wrong with that one. So with dinner, because I'd carried in 2 beers, this was the night for the second beer. I had a delicious stout. It was really tasty. For the dinners that you're planning, just really think about how you can elevate it. Be like, okay, I'm going to have a Mexican chili con carne, but what I can do, oh great, I can add this spicy rice to it, I can add some cheese, I can add some hot sauce, I can actually make it quite flavoursome, carrying in extra cherry tomatoes and some baby spinach to really top it off. So highly recommend that you think about your meals and things that you can actually add. Highly recommend thinking about condiments, because they're things you can actually carry with you that actually will elevate your meals, and you can always decant them into much smaller containers to carry with you. Hot tip for the dinners of these semi-dried chives. So for breakfast we have porridge. We try to make it a bit tastier. We add in these freeze-dried fruit along with some cinnamon and sugar on top, and that was absolutely delicious. So the cinnamon and sugar is definitely a hidden gem of something you can take to actually make the porridge taste delicious. We just pre-make it up and take it in a little shaker mixer, and that just really kind of makes it really delicious in the morning. We also use the coconut powdered milk, which kind of actually tastes good compared to just normal powdered milk. For breakfast, if you're having porridge or even cereal, the hot tip is for coconut powdered milk. It tastes way better than just normal powdered milk. And then also, if you can find these freeze-dried fruits, they are absolutely delicious. Highly recommend the strawberries. The blueberries were a bit hit and miss, they're okay, but the strawberries are absolutely delicious. And then the other hot tip is that cinnamon and sugar in a little shaker to kind of sprinkle across the top to really top it off. Another hot tip, always leave some extra water and some snacks. I always try to leave a little Powerade or Gatorade or something like that, and then also some special of your favourite snacks. If you're watching this video because you're about to do an overnight hike for the first time, or you haven't had much experience, you'll probably find that you carry too much food. So really think about the amount of food you eat at home and the amount of food you might eat on the trail. You might eat a bit more. We find that we don't eat much more than a normal day. So you'll have your own personal preference. You might get really hungry, so you might need to take extra snacks or extra meals. But what I highly recommend is each time you go out, write down what you're packing and write down what you bring back, and then you'll kind of slowly work out what you want to take and what you don't want to take. What you will need to think about is actually how much stuff is actually going to go onto your lunches and onto your dinners if you're taking extra for both. So for instance, cherry tomatoes, do you need 10 or do you need 4 or 3? One snack that I don't recommend actually is trail mix. While it's called trail mix and you're going to be on the trail and you're walking and hiking, the reason I don't recommend it is just the weight. I love trail mix. I love the nuts and all the combinations of different trail mixes that are around, but they always tend to be really heavy. So that's definitely a consideration for me. Another hot tip is if you're just going for an overnight, you can probably tend to take a few more heavier snacks. So when I'm actually doing an overnight, I probably take a couple of beers because I just love to have a little beer after the trail. And then also some of the heavier style of meals, so the retort style of meals that can actually be a bit heavier because they often taste much better. Little hot tip for your snacks. On the morning, as you're packing up everything, always put your snacks in your hip belt pockets or in your pockets so you've got easy access to them along the trail. The other thing I always recommend also is having one food bag that you can put all your food in so you always know where it is. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. What I'd really love you to do is actually comment your favourite tip below, and then also it'd be really great if you would please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next adventure.